The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised. Are you experienced?
Stop right there!
From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
They let us play with all our toys. They let us think that we're big boys. They let us make a lot of noise, but women rule the world. They let us think we're Superman.
You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on iTunes and TuneIn. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you. For you. I will stop till I reach the top just to be there with you. With you.
Dave, oh Dave, are you playing with Bigfoot and aliens again?
Dad, you gotta stop haunting the ghost. It's scaring them.
All right, seriously, put down the pointy sticks.
Oh, the deeper I fall.
Okay! Game on! Game on! Game on!
The password is...
All right.
Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride on Spaced Out Radio. Mr. Bumblefoot, Dave is ready for liftoff.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you. For you.
Seriously, Dave? Really? Aren't you a little old for a tinfoil hat?
Hello, Toby. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, please take your seat about there. We're at the edge. It's time for pickup. Start. 2, 1. Boost to ignition and lift off.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall. The deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Tonight I am your host, Dave Scott, and it's good to have you along for the ride on this Tuesday, December 5th, Wednesday, December 6th. If you're on the East Coast or across the pond, hope you had a great day and night. We are live right here in the Great White North on top of the mountains of central British Columbia as we are here for you 7 days a week. Let's welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Newnan, Georgia, home of the Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Catholic Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We're also live at spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, KTLK, The Fringe.fm, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas, the High Plains Talk Radio Network. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember, the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Like our music, get your horns up for Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy and Sons of Apollo. Bumblefoot is the official sound of SOR. I want to give out our social media addresses if you care to add us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, you can follow me at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. All you have to do is go youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. It's that easy. We're on iHeartRadio in the United States, TalkStream Live. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download and subscribe to our shows on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, we have 2 chat rooms for you to participate in. If you want to get your questions in for this show, you have to sign into Spreaker, or go on to the SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook. Or if you're on Twitter, use the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. I will connect with you there as well. If you head to our website, $5 a month, that's all it takes to become an SOR Space Traveler. You can also shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on the Encounter online, dealing with everything strange, odd, and paranormal. Check out my latest blog, and if you've had an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR Sightlines report. We are also having some great videos from Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers and Leslie Mitchell Clark's Contact TV. I found out about 45 minutes before the show that a good friend of mine, name is Neil O'Brien, passed away. Neil and I worked in radio in Vancouver. He was a real entertaining guy. He loved his wrestling. We called him the real deal. He even did some shows on the local wrestling circuit. You know, he was just so entertaining, so loved by so many. Neil, I know you were a week away from your 48th birthday. You were dealing with some health problems, but tonight, this one's for you, my friend. Much love for you. I hope you have safe travels to the other side. With the run-up to Christmas, we all know about the Christmas blues and the holiday jeers with the increased stress on finances, family, career, and so much more. For some, it was too much to handle. And during this season, where breakdowns and suicide rates are at their highest peaks of the year, now we're not dissing the Christmas season as being one big cluster, you-know-what. Quite the contrary, actually. So tonight, on The Spiritual You, Rachel Kirkland is back for her final appearance of 2017, and our resident modern shaman, or Shaw woman, is going to take a look at some spiritual ways that you can use to cope with the stress of the Christmas holidays. All kind of makes sense. It may not even seem like much, but you know, we all have that relative or that mother-in-law that thrives off of making a spectacle around the family at this time of year. And tonight, we'll find out how to deal with ourselves in those situations. Rachel Kirkland, the modern shaman, Shaw woman. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio for your final time of 2017. Thank you so much for being a part of this show this year. You have been absolutely amazing, and we love it when you're on the air.
Oh, I love being here. Thanks for having me, Dave. I love that intro. Like, I'm always just almost like giggling here on the side, trying to stay quiet. I love it.
Well, you know what? I'm a little disappointed going into this show. Very disappointed because your best friend and partner, Peter, is sitting right beside you right now. And Peter is always rocking the backwards ball cap. And he doesn't even have it on for the show, even though I requested it pre-show.
You requested it pre-show? I didn't know you requested it. Now he's in trouble. He's trying to get on right now and listen to the show. He's sitting right here. Well, now he's going to have to wear his baseball cap, or his cap. It's not a baseball cap. I don't know what you call those caps. Flat type caps.
Baseball caps?
No, it's like a flat, you know, like a like a taxi cab driver, like a flat back.
A poor boy's hat? Poor boy hat?
Is that what they're called, really?
Well,
I'm going to get in trouble if I call it the wrong thing.
You know, I did my hair for this show. I did my hair. I got a haircut before the show. It's looking solid right now. It's getting a little flat because I got the headphones on. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. You know, we're going to get through this one. But thank you so much. I mean, you came in just a few months ago. You had been a guest on this show, I believe, twice. And then you came in a few months ago and took over from Elizabeth April on The Spiritual You as she went on to other endeavors. And I just want to say thank you because you have been absolutely fantastic. Our audience loves you when you were on. And you know what? It's a great match, and I am so excited to get you back in for January. And we're going on early, the 2nd of 2018.
That's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome show. Hopefully everyone's going to be there with us because that'll be right when the new year is kicking in. Lots of energies going on. There's tons of energies going on right now, even with the end of the year. Kind of everything's culminating.
Do you have any holiday traditions that you do with your family?
Holiday traditions? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. You know, we do the Advent calendar, and I think we have an actual calendar itself, and it's like an old school one where it was carved out of wood, you know, and so there's little places to put everything. And there are actual things that in each door, there's a little activity that the kids do. And I wrote them so long ago, but it was always just kind of fun activities, like getting in a car and going to look at Christmas lights or, you know, just things like that. So with each day, there's an actual activity. And then, of course, there's chocolate. That's a fun favorite of the family, and just kind of making sure that, like the gingerbread house, making sure we do stuff that it just feels like we're doing it all together.
And that's awesome. You know, this will be the first Christmas in, I think, 7-8 years that we're going to get everybody together at my parents' house. So we're coming down from the north to go meet my parents who live about an hour east of Vancouver this year. And my sister, whom I haven't talked to in 4.5 years for personal reasons, she's actually going to be there. So I'm going to have a little bit of Christmas stress, which we are getting into tonight. We are also going to be, you know, having my nephew over, and my nephew got involved with the wrong crowd, and he is apparently doing extremely well in recovery, as I had no idea that over the last few years he had been fighting the devil that is called heroin. So, you know, my parents are absolutely ecstatic, and every now and again we have to button up, you know, what we really want to do and what we really want to say and just suck it up. So this is my suck it up Christmas this year. I honestly don't know if I'm looking forward to it, because way up here where I live, you know, I get to hide.
Yeah.
and I feel good about that. I don't feel guilty about that whatsoever. I was used to, you know, doing Christmas morning over FaceTime because my parents don't drive up on the roads at this time of year. You know, so
is it crazy on the roads there?
It can be with the snow and the ice, right? Because it is that time of year. So you know, the only thing that could help me right now from getting out of this is a major blizzard. But I hope not, because I want to make my parents happy. You know what I'm saying?
How often do those actually come around for you?
Christmas? Usually once a year.
No, like blizzards. The blizzards. The like serious blizzards.
Usually the roads are we get about one I shouldn't even say one. We get a couple heavy snowfalls a year. In accumulation, we'll get 5 to 6 feet a year of snow. But it only it only sits around 2.5, 3 feet, because it'll melt down, and then the next snowfall will come and sit on top of that. So you don't have like this giant wall of snow that I'm sure most people are picturing right now.
Even 2.5 to 3 feet. That seems pretty significant to me.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
so
a
much
small
fun.
wall.
No, but you know what? The one thing I love about the cold is before I moved up here, I had never, ever in my life skated or played hockey on a frozen lake. So I am I am so excited because I am just a couple weeks away from the ice being about 2.5, 3 inches thick on the lakes, so I can get my skates and head on out. That's what I care about.
Who tests that? Like, how did they actually know, okay, it's 2 to 3 inches thick, it's fine for everyone to skate on? Like, I mean, that seems, how do you know?
We're Canadian. We just know.
You got it in your blood.
We just know. We just know, you know. You can tell. You know, obviously when it starts to freeze, if you get a good freeze going on, which is starting to happen now, you just know that it's hockey season outside. And then you just go on out and skate, and if you start hearing cracks, you skate off. But I mean,
does the cracks happen slowly like that? Like they give you time to prepare?
I don't know. I've never taken that chance. I usually I usually wait until there's a bounty of snow on top, and then I'll bring my shovel out there, or somebody in the neighborhood will bring the shovel out there, and they'll go, you know, carve a hockey rink out on the lake, and then you just bring some pucks, and then I'll bring my little guy out there, and I'll usually, you know, because I'll usually hammer him into the snow, you know, because that's what we do. He's 4. He can take it. You know, he's been out there. I mean, we were skating 2 years ago, and I believe it was about 20 below zero.
They have skates that tiny?
Yeah. What do you think?
What
do you think Santa Claus brought him for his first Christmas? I had to wait for it. The smallest,
can't even walk, and he's got skates.
The smallest skates that I had for my son, I got him. Well, Santa brought them for his first Christmas, and they would be equivalent to a child's shoe of a size 5.
Oh my goodness, I'm just totally picturing this right now. Is that part of kind of like the holiday always for everyone up there in terms of just Canadian Christmas? Like, you're talking about going and having a whole family Christmas. Will everybody, like, you know how, like, on family Christmases you hear, like, the next day, at least down in the South, they're out, like, throwing the football around, or, you know, they're just, like, playing outside. Is it that way with skating and getting on the ice? Like, is that a family affair?
Yeah, we try and do that.
For the holidays?
Yeah, we try and do that. And we also in our area, a lot of people go snowmobiling at night. So once the snow builds up, and by the time Christmas gets here, we should have a foot or 2 of snow. And by the time, you know, that 2 feet of snow hits, every night I will literally be, you know, falling asleep to snowmobiles running through the area somewhere, because people will literally go all night. And in the forests around here, you know, where the snow is built up even higher, I've never seen it because I've never snowmobiled. I know, weird, Canadian guy hasn't snowmobiled before, but apparently on New Year's Eve, that's the big snowmobile night, where literally hundreds of people will head out into the forest and build these giant bonfires and have snowmobile parties around these bonfires for New Year's. And then they'll set off fireworks and have a good time, you know. But alas...
Why is it at night? Why do they only do this? Why is this a nighttime affair?
Because New Year's is at night.
Well, yeah, but so it's just part of...
It's just part...
You're going to sleep to it now. It's just part of, like, the nighttime culture?
Yeah. It's just what people do on the weekends is they go snowmobiling till, like, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I don't know. I don't understand it. I've never been.
And why haven't you been if this is so much a part of the culture?
Because I don't have a snowmobile. And I just moved up here 2 years... I just moved up here 2 years ago, so I'm still a little bit of a rookie.
Okay.
I'm a rookie.
Okay. Well, everyone who's listening now, you're calling out to go for a snowmobile joyride.
Are you kidding me? I just want to trip my son on the ice. And when he starts crying, I'm going to, as I do every year, because I'm a good Canadian dad who wants his kid to play hockey, every time he starts crying on the ice, I just point at him and laugh and say, come get some, boy. Let's drop the gloves right now.
I can totally picture that. And I can see your eyes, like, very serious, like, looking at him dead in the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I actually, true story, before we get going, I'll give you a quick true story here. My son was in skating. Okay. My son was in skating lessons last year, and he didn't want to do it that day, so he started having a tantrum on the ice. And
he's 3? He's 3 last year.
Yeah, he's 3.
Okay.
Right? And I used to, in my early 20s, I was a hockey instructor. And I taught kids from age 2 up until age 70 on how to play the game. And I was fortunate enough, I had 6 kids that I trained that went on to play and are still playing professional hockey as high as the NHL. And long story short, my son, he starts having a tantrum on the ice. And I'm surrounded by mothers, okay? And the word, all these soft mothers, very soft. So even the instructors were women, and they're like, your son's crying on the ice. I said, so? And they're like, well, you should take him off. No, leave him out there. He has to learn. Because the one thing, skating is not like walking or teaching a kid how to play baseball or soccer, heaven forbid, or any other real sport, right? It's literally about balance. Because, you're only on 1/8 of an inch of steel. And if you don't learn the balance, that's how you're going to get hurt. And whether or not he's having a tantrum, you have to sometimes force a child. And I don't mean that to be rude. I realize a lot of people will be like, how dare you? But you have to force them that it's safe and let them find that for themselves. So this lady starts carving me a new one right at the door. And I literally walked onto the ice, picked up my son, and I had to leave because otherwise I would have went crazy on her. Hockey moms, they're one of the worst species out there. They are.
Well, your mom was a hockey mom, wasn't she? Because you were a hockey kid.
Yeah, but Dad was the coach.
Okay. So that makes a difference.
Dad was the coach, and Mom kind of knew the rules about hockey, So it was a very, very good time. But nonetheless, I'm going to get the boy up on the lake here coming up, and I will tell you this. There is nothing that makes you feel like you're flying than feeling the wind go past you when you're skating on the ice, and you can just skate and skate and skate. It's a real beautiful thing. So I'm looking forward to it. I
love that. So your whole family is getting together, you said?
Yes, unfortunately.
When's the last time that happened? The whole family get together for Christmas?
I'm going to say 7-8 years ago. And then my parents started going down to Arizona for the winter. So that's what kind of killed it. And during that time, the first year my parents were heading to Arizona, my sister and I had a falling out. And no, it was a couple years later. Their last time they went to Arizona, my sister and I had a falling out about 4.5 years ago. And
how many siblings do you have?
I have 2 older sisters. And and so I literally told my sister that, she has treated me like a second-class citizen for the final time. And I gave her a couple of middle fingers verbally. And I said, you know what? We're done. I don't need you in my life. See ya. So my parents have all been, well, you gotta patch things up with your sister. You know, you have to get going. You have to do this, and you have to play nice. And I said, why? Why do I have to do that? You know, but I'm going to, for the sake of Mom and Dad and my grandmother, who's going to be there.
So this is the patch-up year?
Yeah, this is the year where
Or you've already had the patch-up, and now you're...
No, we haven't patched things up at all. But you know what?
Okay, so you're showing up to Christmas, the patch?
It will be, because here's the thing. Earlier this year when we had the forest fires here, I was really, really... It scared me. That's the easiest way to put it. It scared me. And so I literally figured, you know what? I'm going to bite my tongue. I'm going to man up, and I will be there. Doesn't mean that she ever has to come here, because if she chooses not to come here, I'm quite all right with that. But I'm manning up. I'm going to do this. So I'm okay with that. I got to be.
I think that's a good place to be. You're showing up, and you're being present.
Exactly. You know,
the rest will take care of itself.
I'm still not going to give her my phone number, but nonetheless, I'll show up. That's okay.
So how many is that altogether there for the family?
Let me see. Let's see. My parents, my grandma, because I got my one grandma left. She's, how old is she? 1928, so she is 89. Still tough as nails, too.
I'm impressed you could do that in your head.
Yeah. Let's see here. We have my one sister who I do talk to, and her son. So there's 5. Then my sister and her fiance, who is a dick, and their 4 kids, because they're a blended family. So there's 11. And then my 2 daughters, my son, Mrs. SOR, and myself. So there's going to be like 16 people there.
Plus your parents.
Yes. 16 people, including Mom and Dad. It's going to be haywire. But my mother, my mother convinced me by she makes these, I'm telling you right now, the best Christmas cookies. They're not even cookies. What she does is she melts down toffee. Okay.
Oh, man, you already got me. You already got me.
She melts down toffee, and then she coats marshmallows in the toffee. And then, I don't know if you have, maybe you do or not, because a lot of, believe it or not, as close as we are as Canada and the United States, there's a lot of products we have up here and you don't have down there, right? Okay. Do you have Special K cereal down there?
Yes.
Okay, so you take these marshmallows, you dip them in the hot toffee. Okay.
Are you giving away the family recipe right now?
I am, because everybody needs to do this. Everybody needs to do this. So you have
it already is sounding good. You had me at melted toffee. Okay, the melted toffee marshmallows. So you get cereal.
You get the big marshmallows, not the little ones that you put in cocoa. The big ones.
Okay.
And you
s'mores to make s'mores over a campfire.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody's bugging me because I called my sister's fiance a dick on the radio. He is. He is.
Since everybody in the chat rooms are getting on to you.
Mainly Twitter right now, but seriously, he's one of those guys that he knows everything about everything. I took him.
He's a very intelligent person. Let's just call him that.
Yeah.
Very, very intelligent.
Yeah, he's a VIP. That's right, he's a VIP. Anyways, so you take, getting back to the cereal thing. You take the marshmallow, you put it in the melted toffee. All right, you dip it in the melted toffee, then you roll it in the Special K, and then once you got them all, you stick them in the freezer. So my mother is doing like 12 dozen of these things. And literally that 12 dozen will be gone by December 26th. Right? I swear to God.
And it's the reason everyone's coming together.
Absolutely. It's those damn toffee marshmallow balls, right? That's what they are. So, anyways.
Oh, you're going to need to post a picture of that. Because I want to see it.
I will. I will do that. And
you need like a full-on Pinterest-looking picture. You know what I mean? Like all dolled out and glitzy. Of yourself eating those marshmallow toffee balls.
I agree. I absolutely agree that needs to be done. So it is something that, seriously, if you have Special K, you have toffee, and you have marshmallows, you're in for the best treat of your life. Just stick them in the freezer and eat them frozen, because they taste better when they're cold. And it is...
Oh, really?
Yes. So there is the Dave Scott Clan family Christmas... What do you call that? What would you call that? Recipe. Right there. 3 ingredients, boom, you're done.
Is that really it? It's just melted toffee?
Melted toffee. That's it. Melted toffee, marshmallows, and Special K.
My guess is there's a special issue there with the timing of like how hot because you've got to melt down the toffee and the marshmallows and then somehow not have it too hot to where you could roll them into the cereal.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, you wait till the toffee is maybe warm, like lukewarm, and then you roll it.
Yeah.
Then you roll it into the cereal, and you're good. You're very good. You know?
Well, it's funny. I love that this is like one of the aspects of bringing the family together, because it's one of those Christmas family traditions. It's become like your family tradition. And it's funny how stuff like that can literally, it does bring people together. And that's what they think of. Like every year, they're like, it warms people's hearts when they think of stuff like that. Everybody has something like that, that's like their family tradition.
Well, the main thing is, my whole goal is to get through that weekend without my sister getting my phone number. That's all that matters. And if I can do that, I've accomplished one of the greatest feats of my life. So, we'll do it. Anyhow, let's move on here because people are probably sick of hearing our phone conversation here. As we've been kind of alluding to and warming up to here, Rachel, it's how to keep the peace during the holidays, because it's December 5th, 20 days from now, or 19 days from now, I'm already stressing out about it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one stressing out about the holidays. How do we deal with the holidays on a spiritual level to try and bring our stress levels down?
Well, there's lots of ways to do it. And part of that is, first of all, like being in a space where you feel like you don't lose you amongst all of the chaos. As much as I think the reason people stress out so much, or I guess one of the reasons, is because there's this sensation of all of this change or all of this kind of chaotic switching of energy, just doing things you wouldn't normally do, spending amounts you wouldn't normally spend, putting yourself in situations you wouldn't normally be in. So almost being outside of your regular sense of safety and comfort and things that give us a sense of foundation to just us and our lives. So there's this sense of kind of like an undulating, I keep feeling this sense of like a earthquake, like a kind of impending shaking underneath everything. So when all of that's going on, just coming back to your central things that, it sounds very simple, but things that make you feel like your sense of regularity, your sense of not necessarily routine, but it can be a sense of routine, things that you do regularly that make you have a sense of solidarity and foundation and regularity to your life. As simple as breathing, which again, we breathe all the time, but so often we don't have a sense of like awareness of our breathing and doing that kind of thing. Like for you, that's going to be key. When you're in those situations, I'm telling you now, if you are in those situations where so many people are often in the holidays where they're like cornered in the kitchen, you know what I mean? When they're in a conversation or they're in just a place where there's all this conversation going on around, or there's drama going on around in the conversation, there's just simply being aware of your breath. Like it almost moves you out of the body and into a sense of perspective within the situation. Like it takes you out of the energy of that drama in that instant and moves you into an outer kind of perspective of almost like the peripheral view of things, the observer, because suddenly you're aware of the things that naturally you would be doing without conscious thought. So when you give your thought to those unconscious things, it takes you out of that kind of the pull energetically of that drama. So literally just taking breaths in that moment and thinking about those breaths as you're taking them can switch the energy. That's one thing. But it's very powerful. It sounds so simple, but it's like in that moment, it's often hard for us to remember to do it. And so it sounds simple, but when you actually do it, if you have ever done that practice, it's very, very effective.
Is it just a matter of trying to maybe try and find a calm space, or can you do it when there's a lot of people around your house?
You can. In terms of just the breathing, like there's a sense of just in that moment, whenever there's something going on energetically where there's a ton of, like I said, I keep seeing these like cornered in the kitchen moments. You know what I'm talking about, where everybody's like kind of doing stuff, and I don't know why it's always the kitchen, but it seems like those heated conversations just happen around the kitchen. Maybe it is the heat in there, but there is a sense of whenever that's going on, because it happened, it's within you, just taking those few moments of breathing while that conversation is going on and thinking to yourself, okay, I'm stopping and I'm going to be aware of my breath for 3 breaths. As long as, and then you move yourself into this energy of peripheral awareness, like all of a sudden, and there's a sense of you not being so engaged in your energy of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it slows that conversation down and almost like dissipates the energy out.
See, I know a lot of people who have to travel for Christmas. They're out of their comfort zone. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use myself as an example here, Rachel, just because I'm going through it this year for my first time. And in my house, I have a comfort hiding place. If I'm feeling stressed, if I'm feeling, where I have one of those moments my brain won't turn off, if I'm angry, if I'm anxious or depressed, I go into my studio in my basement. It's kind of my Zen area. And one of the things that I worry about, and I think a lot of other people, worry about it as well, is how do they find that comfort zone when they're in an uncomfortable environment? Even though it may be mom and dad's, which should always be a comfortable environment.
But you're so right. Oftentimes it's not. And, I don't want to paint that picture negatively, but there's just, I think because our comfort zone is our zone. And like you said, when we're traveling to places that we're not normally in, everything just kind of feels like it's shifting. So the idea of there's lots of ways to do it, but having things around that feel like that is part of your regular system, like having your own pillow like when you travel or something. If you travel with your own pillow, there's a sensation of like, this is still my comfort. I know I'm going to sleep good because this is a repetitive kind of energy that's with this that I associate with good sleep. So something as simple as that, as having like a creature comfort, and it becomes your little kind of bubble, like you said. You have your own space when you're at home. There's things also, just like if you're a journaler, like having your journal, those things are a similar kind of energy of having a regular pattern that you still maintain even when you travel, or especially when you're in an environment that feels like, you know, it's off kilter from your regular energy. Having things that physically, like, carry your energy, like a pillow. I know that sounds probably funny, but we spend a lot of time on our pillows, a lot of people. Well, maybe not you, because I know how often you don't sleep. But most of us spend a lot of time on that bed in the pillow, and our energy is absorbed oftentimes in things like that. So moving that and having that with you, it kind of creates a sense of energy bubble and almost like triggers that same. Also has just your olfactics. It has a sense of your smell of your space with you.
Yeah, I understand where you're going with that, but I would sooner be on a 14-hour flight to, I don't know, somewhere remote, you know, rather than heading to mom and dad's, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people will. Like, Adam makes a great comment here in the chat room. He says, let me just scroll up here because the chat room keeps moving on me. Basically, along the lines is, it never hurts to just strangle the mother-in-law every now and again. You know, I mean, sometimes it has to be done. Sometimes it has to be done. So you just have to go along with that. You know, you have to go along with that. And, you know, but even though you can't do it, how do you bite off the stress? Because for a lot of people, they have that antagonizing family member that always tries to cause a scene. You know what I'm saying by that? There's always that one family member. And how do you take charge of a situation with your own emotions when you feel the anxiety or the stress building up, because you don't want to be near that person? You would sooner be waterboarded at Guantanamo Bay than hang out with that person.
Yeah, well, you have your just practical, tactical, like, phrases and things. Like, just knowing that you have permission to say, I don't want to have this conversation in this moment, and physically walk away. You know, I mean, stuff like that. Like, just having an out for yourself, giving yourself permission to not engage, to set kind of your own emotional boundaries. Like, if you know that there is that volatile person or, you know, conversation topic, it's kind of like knowing, you know, we don't talk about politics or religion at the table. That whole phrase of, like, if you know that there are people or conversations that are hot topics, holding and having those boundaries set ahead of time and giving yourself permission to say, those are just conversations I'm not going to go into. And if someone brings them up, just say, that's a conversation I'm not going into this holiday season.
It's not that simple, though. It's not that simple.
It doesn't. I agree. There's shades. That's going to fractal off into all different sorts of shades of things. But in those moments, having a phrase like that, as simple as that sounds, is very important. You have to have a way out that's not engaging the emotional body. So to say a phrase like that, or to have a regular out for you, whether it be like, I just don't care to engage in this conversation, or that's something I'm not willing to talk about right now. It may be a phrase that you literally have to say, you know, 5-6 times a day if that person is that in your face. But it will, if you maintain it, it will be maintained. It doesn't mean it's easy by any means. It's never easy when there's an antagonistic energy there. But it is just the strategic idea of, like, knowing you're going into something, and so giving yourself ways to mitigate that energy.
Is this where breathing helps?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. I mean, that's why breathing has been taught forever, and about in every single meditative practice, religious practice, physical practice. I mean, even with different athletics, breathing is huge. You know, getting into a pattern of, even with hockey, I'm sure, you know, there's a sense of it being important just with body awareness and learning how to manage stress, period.
Well, hockey, at least there's an outlet. You can drop the gloves with the person and just rock it out and go. And you feel good about it afterwards, win or lose. And I would be more than happy, you know, to fight my sister at center ice. You know?
I knew you were thinking that. I was like, I know where you go. Well, breathing is another option, but yes. I mean, I get what you're saying. And that physical outlet, I think, you know, unfortunately, a lot of times just exercise, like having a regular exercise like that, and getting out on physical ice, like, you know, hockey is not a normal regular sport where you get to actually fight people on the ice, but regularly just exercise is a way of getting out that pent-up energy as well. So keeping an exercise routine while you're there, if that's realistic, I mean, plenty of people try to do that as well. That's also a sense of, like, maintaining your sense of balance when the things around you are changing. If you have some sort of routine like that, keeping with that routine.
It's hard, though, when you see it happening right in front of you, because it's one of those situations where a lot of people don't even have to have words said. It's, you know, it's certain clicks that people do. You know, it's almost like it's almost like Tourette's in a way. And then you're just looking for that one spark where you're looking to, you know, for it to catch flame, and boom, there you go. I mean, this happens a lot around the holidays. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does, because everyone is on, like you mentioned earlier, they're on a lot of edges. It's not just one edge. It's a financial edge. It's an emotional edge. It's a time edge. There's just a lot of busy. Like, people are just stretched pretty thin, and it's the end of the year. It's the end of an huge energetic cycle. So there's been, plus we just had a supermoon. There's all this energy of, like, mega, you know, kind of emotional energy on the rise at this all together, and people that we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, it makes sense. I get where you're coming from. There's just a sense of everybody being kind of their own little ticking time bomb. So as simple as it sounds, like, just like I said earlier, breathing is huge. And it's one of those things that just sounds stupid until you do it, you know, until you're actually in a situation where you want to stop the ticking time bomb. Those moments are when you're like, God, it's so true. All I did was take those few breaths, and seriously, it works. It's like, you know, somebody telling you something like that, but you have to, when you're in that moment, taking those few seconds to stop yourself and breathe. When you get into that habit, there's a sense of just, like, being in control of your own emotional body and realizing that person who's been trying to antagonize or trigger you doesn't hold the power. You do.
What about meditation? Is this where meditation comes into play, because we have so much going on and it's an easy way to calm yourselves down?
Yes, by all means, yes. And I mean, that's a lot of, like, that's a regular practice. I would say, just like with, like, exercising or having your regular things that you regularly do, meditation in the morning, setting that pace and getting yourself in an energetic space where you're letting go, you're practicing letting go of the mental chatter, of all the thoughts, all of the worry, all of the stress, where you're giving yourself time to let that go. It's huge. It's very, very transformative for you to be, especially, it's funny because the times that we need meditation the most are the times when we always tell ourselves we don't have time for it. It's the total opposite. It's like those are the times when we need it the most, and we need to be almost most rigid with ourselves, because it's our own sense of needing, when we feel like we don't have time, this is a space that actually moves us into a no time, like, space continuum. It moves us into the now and moves us into the present. So it gives us this experience of not being stressed, of not being pushed for time, of not being in a space of worry and mental confusion. So it's huge, and it's transformative if it's regular like that, because you bring yourself into a mental state that's practiced of learning how to let go of those stresses.
What about the triggers? There are a lot
when they come up in those moments?
When they come up in those moments, it could be, a lot of people have that one family member who always has to tell everybody how good their Facebook life is. You know what I'm saying? They put on that Facebook front, that facade, oh, well, we went here and we bought this and we bought that and you should come check out our new couch, or, you know what I'm saying? There's always these little triggers where, like, oh God, here they go again, and a lot of people cannot handle that type of pressure because of financial means, or because, there's always that one person who tries to make it like their life is better than yours, because they have more toys or whatever it could be. And that bothers a lot of people at this time of year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, again, in those moments, there's a sense of just having to, okay, so there's a practice, this is a simple practice, but there's a practice that I call, like, duck diving. And this is from when I used to surf back in the day. I used to surf in high school when I grew up in Huntington Beach, California. And we had a high school, surf team. Probably like y'all had a top team.
You had a high school surfing team?
Yeah.
I have never heard of that. Did you know John Huntington then?
No, I don't. But maybe I'm supposed to. Is that somebody that, like, founded Huntington Beach?
Yeah, John Huntington. He used to have a bunch of tattoo shops in Las Vegas called Hart and Huntington with Carrie Hart, and he's from Huntington Beach as well.
Well, apparently I don't know everyone from Huntington Beach. It's a pretty big town. No, I don't. But yeah, so we had our high school surf team. So all that being said, when the wave is coming up, this duck dive or duck pose, like when a wave is coming up and you're not able to paddle fast enough to pass over the wave, instead of just letting the wave hit you, you push the tip of the board underneath the water just before kind of the wave crests, and you dive under. So it's kind of like ducking underneath, and you can do it just in time to where you don't get hit and you don't get pulled under by the undercurrent. So all that being said, I have this visualization that I always encourage when things get really bad, or when someone's kind of coming at you with all these poison arrows in their words or in their accusations or in their triggers, whatever it may be, to visualize and feel like you're kind of doing this duck dive, like you're just ducking under, and all that energy that they're sending at you just washes over your head like water, all the way over you and down your back. And you just let it ride. You just like that total surfer energy, like, yeah, you just let it ride, dude. Just like it's all good. You have this sense of just like, and it is a visualization, but in that moment, energetically, and I don't know, because I feel energy. It's like, and I think a lot of people do, I preach that I feel like all of the psychic senses, that everyone has these, but there's a sensation of being able to feel when people energetically are really pointing those kind of energetic daggers at you with their words or whatever, with their eyes, whatever it may be, even just energy and thoughts. In those moments when you're feeling that, you simply kind of like see yourself ducking down and them having those arrows or that energy just wash over you like a wave, like it just passes over your head and over your back. None of it sticks to you. None of it goes into you. Instead of trying to shield, you just let it roll on.
You mentioned how this can be energy sucking for a lot of people. How do you keep the negative energy away from yourself when it's so built up over anticipation days and weeks in advance?
Yeah. So meditation. I'm going to say, like, when you have time to prepare, I would say prepare yourself with that. Prepare yourself with meditation. And prepare yourself, too, when you feel yourself going into these negative visualizations or this anxiety about what could happen or these fears of kind of these creative events that haven't happened yet, use that meditative time to create a visualization that's positive.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we are going to go out for our first break of the night. Rachel Kirkland is our guest. The Christmas edition of The Spiritual You happens the first Tuesday of every month. Rachel's next appearance will be Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. We love having her on. We'll be right back with more SOR right after this.
Hey, space travelers, it's Joe Roop, your host of Spaced Out Saturdays. Come join me as we explore the realms of the paranormal, the esoteric, and everything in between every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. You know the truth is out there. Don't get caught sleepwalking. Come join Spaced Out Saturdays. That's every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, right here on SpacedOutRadio.com.
Psychic Sundays, spiritual communication, ET contact, Sasquatch in your backyard. We will have it all on Cosmic Passport with me, Elizabeth Anglin. Each Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, at SpacedOutRadio.com, I will take you on a journey of enlightenment. The goal is learning from the soul on out. We'd love it if you joined our experience. Cosmic Passport, heard Sundays at SpacedOutRadio.com.
365 days a year, we're in the field, investigating UFO sightings, talking to alien abductees, and visiting secret military locations like Area 51. We're UFO Seekers, official partner of Spaced Out Radio. Follow our daily search for the truth at ufoseekers.com or like us on social media. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at SpacedOutRadio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at SpacedOutRadio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At SpaceOutRadio.com, The Encounter online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to SpacedOutRadio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Want to learn more about aliens, cover-ups, conspiracies, cryptids, and the paranormal? All you have to do is tune in S4 as we take over Spaced Out Radio Night, starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, each and every Saturday night, right after Spaced Out Saturdays. Hi there, this is Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. Join me, Corey Ruiz, and friends as we discuss the hot topics of the night. It's fun, entertaining, and as dark as the night. Find us at SpacedOutRadio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
There's a lot of strange going on in this world, and we can help you find out what's going on with you. Paranormal, cryptids, UFOs in the sky, aliens in your bedroom tickling your toes. We have the investigators you need to find out the answers you deserve. All you have to do is head to spacedoutradio.com. Your information is 100% confidential. The SOR Sightlines Report. It's free, and we're here to help.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night is going to be a fantastic show. I highly suggest you check it out. Michael Schratt is going to join us. He is a premier researcher and expert on Black Project aircraft flying around the skies of places like Area 51, Dulce, and so much more. If you want to learn more about black triangles and the secret spy planes that are up in the sky, never mind the UFOs, tomorrow night is going to be on fire. 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. Great to have you with us as well. We are also live on the Fringe.fm, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Celeripedian. Celeripedian is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, you could do so on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio if you want to connect live with me during the show as well. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. We're on Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. We're right there. Subscribe to it. We're on iHeartRadio in the United States, TalkStream Live. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download and subscribe to our shows on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, rock out to some Bumblefoot, shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. You can also read up on the Encounter Online for all your paranormal and weird strange news, and watch great videos from Tim Doyle's UFO Seekers and Contact TV with Leslie Mitchell Clark, and so much more. It's the final edition of 2017 for the Spiritual You, the Christmas edition, How to Handle the Holidays Spiritually, with Rachel Kirkland, the Modern Shawoman. She goes by the Modern Shaman, but today I changed it. I'm that guy. I'm a rebel that way. I changed it to Shawoman. Rachel, how are you?
Oh, wonderful. Oh, my God, you're cracking me up. I love how you said that so, easily. The Modern Shaw Woman. I don't know that I've ever heard of that, so you need to copyright that right now, because I don't know that I've ever trademarked it or whatever.
Hey,
I love it.
It just flows. It just flows. That's all I'm going to say. It just flows. So it is so great to have you. Did Peter put his hat on yet? Is his hat on?
Yes. He
Excellent.
put on his hat.
Excellent.
He's very serious now. He's got the hat on, is ready to go.
Excellent. Good. Now we're ready for hour number 2, as you'll be with us for one more hour, and then Cosmic Passports, Elizabeth Anglin, always comes in for hour number 3 to continue the spiritual talk. So she will be with us right after this as well. A lot of people have a lot of stress about finances over the holidays. Christmas is not a cheap time of year. Many people fake it by putting it on their credit cards, which I think is one of the silliest things to do, even though I have done it myself, by charging everything and worrying about it later, but Christmas is expensive. There's also a lot of ruthless big-name companies out there who have no problem firing people around Christmas time as well, which can add to the stress. If you're having financial stress going into the Christmas season, how can you bring yourself to a spot spiritually not to make it as concerning as we all make it out to be at this time of year?
Well, I think one of the major things is just reminding and kind of coming back to that place of time and effort, and small things, just like I said, time and doing things with people, with your kids. Those traditions don't have to cost a lot, but they're the ones that are those true memory makers. We tend to think, and I think that's just because of all the commercialism, that's surrounding Christmas, we tend to think that, we need to do all of these, it's time to do the Disneyland, or it's time to do these big, expensive, just all sorts of things that would cost more than basically getting the cookies and, rolling out some dough and making cookies together. Something simple like that. Those are the things that are reminders for us all the time, that those are the memory creators. Those are the time and energy spent in those traditions, or doing things that, slow down and do things together. There's an energy of togetherness. All of those types of things, they don't really cost a lot, but we tend to forget that those are the things that are that last long in terms of our relationships, and in terms of kind of coming together and spending time, and the whole energy of feeling unity and family.
I get that, but it's very hard. Like, for instance, a lot of families, I don't know if your family does this when you're all together, but a lot of families like ours, we do the Secret Santa thing where we all throw in a gift and then we pull numbers, and the person who, you want to get number 1 or the final number, because when you do that, you're able to, choose whatever gift that you want, and you can steal someone's gift, and it's a lot of fun. We make a lot of fun, and financially it's taken a lot of stress off of Christmas. But there's a lot of people who can't even afford that $10 or $20, and they feel horrible and they feel guilty about that, which I don't think is fair, to put that type of pressure on everybody, but it does happen. So, how do you deal with that type of pressure when you know that maybe your family doesn't know about your financial situation?
That's a good question. In those times, like, knowing there's a sense, first of all, communication and family, like when you're sharing that, there's a sense that, like you said, there's sometimes when family doesn't know about financial stuff that's going on. There's a lot of family doesn't know, period. And I think the holidays, part of that stress is that it almost brings up things that we haven't wanted either others to know, or we haven't, not that we've been hiding, but just that we haven't necessarily been toting it around or sharing those things that are difficult with the rest of our family or the rest of those that kind of surround us or are close to us during the holiday season. And it brings up this sensation of kind of forced communication. But in those times when there's, I guess like you were saying, this unneeded sense of guilt or this unneeded sense of putting pressure on yourself, coming back to a sense of like why you're doing it, what it is that it has to come back to that core energy of just like family unity and like coming together. Like, what is the point? What is the purpose? Because those are things that you can offer to people. It does, as simple as that sounds, it doesn't have a monetary value. So when you start to feel guilty about that, you have to come back and remind yourself of the whole purpose, the whole point of like why it is that you're giving it. There's a sense of whatever it is in terms of a gift comes from a space of giving. Like, what is that for you? What does that feel like? And kind of upholding that energy beyond anything else. And just letting go and reminding yourself, like, it's okay to be where you are. Where you are is honest and pure and true. It's okay to be present where you are. If you're in a space that's not helpful for you or, viable for you to spend that money, just being okay with that, with yourself, being okay with this is where I am right now. And it's more relevant for me to be present and honest with where I am than try to, like you said, kind of go down that route of like pretending with the credit cards or with whatever ways we pretend.
What about those people who are alone and cannot afford to get home for Christmas?
Yeah. That's when I think traditions and traditions in terms of doing things like baking your own cookies, giving yourself a sense of like holiday is important. And I think it sounds funny too, but as much as Facebook and things like social media and things can have negative connotations sometimes, I feel like there are ways that when I share stuff on my social media, or I just know Spirit has told me at different times to share family aspect for those that aren't able to be with their family. Like you said, how you're used to doing, FaceTimes for Christmas. There's a real sense of just reaching out and making sure that those that can't be with family still have the opportunity to feel family, whether it's theirs or it's the family of like seeing pictures of other people with their family, that there can be a sense of like keep that open and have a sense of like welcomeness to the broader sense of the family of humanity.
The loneliness factor for a lot of people is horrific. You know, maybe they were an only child and both parents are gone and they were never close to cousins. I mean, there's every type of situation that we could imagine out there. And it becomes a depressing time of year. Statistics do show that suicide rates, the closer we get to Christmas, increase and increase and increase. And not just for those who are suffering from mental disorders. There are people who just snap at it. How do you control those dark emotions at this time of year, and what can you do to battle it?
I think that's so real. I'm glad you brought that up, because I do feel like just with clients and people that come in, I feel like it's so common. And that's one thing. I think just you bringing it up and the people listening, knowing that that's such a common, it's not just Christmas. I mean, Thanksgiving is a similar energy too. There's a sense of just like loneliness when you're not in that energy of family, or feeling like you're not surrounded or not able, like you said, to get home. Or, you know, if you're with a split family and the other, you know, like your ex has the kids and you don't have them that hard. Whatever the situation may be, there's a lot of people that find themselves in an energy of just like being alone at that time. And first thing I would say is to communicate, to reach out. Don't feel like you have to be in that space alone. And then if you are, utilize that time in a way that feels still sacred and special to you. Like it doesn't mean you can't enjoy and have a sense of your own tradition. And you have to make more effort, because when you're alone, it's like you have a sense of like, why do I need to, you know, do all the fanfare? But when there's still a sense of tradition, still a sense of, you know, doing the cookies or doing something that still feels special and sacred to you, it keeps you in that energy and away from that sensation of loneliness, because you're holding those kind of energetic patterns and energetic like plays with yourself. And then also just, like I said, communicating. There's so many people that are out there that are in that same similar experience, like just looking for places to go, looking for things to keep yourself not feeling alone. Like there's so many places and opportunities that really open up, because they are aware that there's a lot of people that don't have family during these times. So being open to that and having a sense of communication to kind of say, you know, hey, I don't have anywhere to go this holiday. I'd love to join in. I know it's a vulnerable space, but if you're willing to go there, there are communities and a lot of places that really do reach out and cater to that.
And that's a big one, too, is you don't have to be alone. But, I mean, people at this time of year, they feel meek. They feel that they don't want to intrude or impose. How do you get over that emotion of not wanting to impose, whether it's at maybe a community function or at a friend's house or something like that? You know, I mean, the last 2 Christmases we had up here, we had friends over for turkey dinner. And that's just what we did, because we don't like seeing people alone. So there is usually a place to go. So how do you deal with the idea of getting over that meek feeling, or of, you know, self-imposing on someone? We lost Rachel. Let's get her back. Let's get her back. We'll get her back here in 2 seconds. It was a darn good question, too. It was a darn good question. Hi, how are you?
Hello there. I lost you for a second. I don't know, it just dropped out.
That's okay. So what I was asking, and it was a darn good question too, is how do you teach someone to get over that feeling of being self-imposing on other people without having to, you know, tell the world that you're alone this holiday? Because a lot of people have a hard time saying that.
Right. which is totally understandable and okay also, feeling, like I said, there's that feeling of vulnerability and openness to that, of admitting that they don't have somewhere to go, and that's okay. I don't know that you can get over that feeling. If you feel it, you feel it. But there is a sensation that in that moment of just opening up, of communicating, that it's more important for you, realize that there's people that want and love having a sense of everyone being together, that it's part of their joy to give and to connect people and to bring people into, just like you said, you had people into your home. There's plenty of people who love hosting, who love holding a sense of community and get together and enjoy doing that with friends more so than family, or they consider their friends their family, or they enjoy a sense of like bringing people together. And that is a joy to a lot of people. So there's not necessarily a sense of, if you remember that like people like to do this, there's not a sense of them having to do it, or you're not, a charity case, or there's not a sense of they're doing it from a space of love and desire on their own sense of giving. So just remembering that is a joy for a lot of people, that they enjoy connecting to others and bringing people together. And that's part of the season as well. Like, so just admitting, it's just like you have to tell people you're single if you want to meet someone new. There's a sensation of like you have to tell people that you're open if this is something that you're open to.
And for a lot of people, they're listening to this conversation, they're like, my God, this sounds so depressing. But in reality, these are situations that are dealt with on a daily basis around this time of year. After American Thanksgiving, that crash, after, we go beat the hell out of each other on Black Friday, as good people as we are, you have to figure that there is some sort of, how can you put it, way to have these coping mechanisms, put in place. And a lot of us don't prepare for it, even though we know it's coming.
Right. Exactly. And like I said, there's a lot of, it's the end of the year too. I don't want it to sound depressing. I want it to sound encouraging. I want people to take that away from it in the sense of you're not alone. And these are, like you said, these are so common, and they are. I mean, when I see clients and just the energies going on, like I said, at the end of the year, there's so much kind of like culmination energy of just like everything kind of rushing to the forefront. Everyone is feeling everything very strongly right now in terms of their emotional body. It's just like everything's coming up, and there's a sensation of kind of like having to get it right at the end of the year. We all have this sense of like, it's like you're finishing the race. It's funny. It's not that anything finishes at the end of the year, but there is just a sensation. It's just there's an awareness of the cycle that's been playing, and Christmas is kind of that end of the year big caboose that comes energetically. It's like we feel this coming, and even though we know it's coming, there's still this sense of it hitting us smack in the face and being like, wow, I'm really feeling these things really strongly. And so I think everything that you're bringing up of just like ways to mitigate the stress, to handle, to have a sense of practice and routine, or have, help in the midst of when you're triggered, whether it be breathing, all of these things, I just think they're so important in terms of encouragement, just to encourage you as you're going through these times, that they are wonderful times. They are times of all coming together and tons of laughter and joy and unifying, and just there's great times had during these times, but there's also just a level of intensity that is so heightened, be it stress or anxiety or whatever. It can just be the energy of all this culminating stuff, there's a lot of anticipation energy as well, positive and negative. And so I think just the intensity of it, having skills to kind of handle that level of energy in your life is so important.
Elizabeth is asking, do you, Rachel, think the solstice plays into this at Christmas time, people releasing and experiencing darkness before returning to light?
Yes, I love that. Yes, it does. It does. I feel like there's a lot of, I think the cycles, the lunar cycles, and it's not that we, in terms of astrology, it's not that we are kind of like little robots that get affected by this, but there's a play in our emotional bodies. Most of us is made up of water, these things, just like the tides. The lunar cycles, the solstice, all of it has an effect on our body. And so we're dealing with that on top of everything else. So like I said, it just brings the intensity, it heightens everything. And so this idea of the solstice, or this dark time coming before the light, those things don't necessarily have to be viewed negatively. There's just a sense of, before every birth kind of comes that sensation of death, or not necessarily even death, but just like going to sleep before you can awake. There is a time where we get to a place where we kind of have that solace or solitude, or have to go into ourselves, or have to need to release, whether it be emotions, or release people, or release expectations, or release things that feel like they're negatively holding us down, or restricting us from moving on in life, in order to have that next step of freedom and newness. And that definitely comes into play at the end of the year during this time. It's so much heightened energy around Christmas and the end of the year and the new cycle beginning in 2018. So that whole idea of kind of like cleansing and releasing and letting go, within the shamanic culture, they call those death ceremonies, and they sound heavy and intense, but there's just a sensation of putting things to rest and letting them go before we're able to move on and have a new life.
The one thing that a lot of people have is, with those long days and the darkness of those days leading up to the winter solstice, a lot of people's depression really kicks in because they can't handle all the darkness surrounded. And the higher the north you go, like where I am, where it's literally 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it's getting dark, it's a lot to take for a lot of people. So how do you build a coping mechanism around the solstice when it's so dark and it's the holiday season?
Well, one of the things that I always tell people, and again, I know it's simple, but I come back to the simple things. I mean, I think that's part of, being a shaman. Things are very, just elemental and based in simple kind of practices, but there's a sensation of your body needing more rest during those times. And as hectic as it gets, when you're dealing with all of this culmination energy, our body needs more time to assimilate and process it through. So first thing first is, I would say, give yourself more time to sleep if you can. I notice that with clients and with myself and with all these energy swings. There's a time where we have a natural tendency to go in, to be more introverted, to kind of go into that, whether it's depression or introverted state, or kind of looking and self-assessing, or kind of having that metacognitive view of like thinking about your own thinking, or thinking about your own process in life, and kind of seeing how you're doing, or whether it's in a very business way, looking at your goals and, assessing how you did this year. There's a sense of having this going in and becoming more internal and quieter, and listening to yourself in that space. When you are giving yourself more time to assimilate those types of, whether you call them darker times, to me, it's more just like a solitary time. It's a cave kind of time. It's a womb-like time. all of that has to be had before there's a sense of new life or new birth. You go into the womb, you go into the creation space or the void or that darker time. And your body physically needs more time. So that's what I'm saying about sleep. If you can, it needs more sleep during that time. It just does. Our body is adjusting to just as much the cosmology going around us as it is like all of the energy and the kind of ramp up of everything with kind of the Christmas craze. And then also just looking at your life and utilizing that time of those natural ebb and flows astrologically to use it, like I said, to clear out anything that feels like it's still weighing you down, asking yourself, are there things that I need to let go of? Are there relationships that it's time to, say this is no longer serving me? Are there resentments? Are there things that I need to let go of in terms of having, just not wanting them to hold me back anymore?
And here I thought it was just the overplaying of any Mariah Carey or Michael Bolton Christmas song that was driving people nuts.
And Michael Bublé, man, his have been on like all the time.
I know.
Like, oh my gosh, that's all I can handle.
I can't rip Michael Bublé because he's a Vancouver guy and he's a hockey lover, and we have a bunch of mutual friends.
It's the overplay. It can be anything. You know what I mean? There's that one Christmas carol that I don't even think there's words to it, but it's the Here Come the Bells. It's like dun 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 dun. You know that one?
Yes, I do. I like that.
It's so stressful. That one, I like it. That's the one that drives me insane. It gets louder and louder and louder, and it builds. It has this energy like dun 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 dun.
You know what?
At the end, I'm like, oh my God, this song is stressing me out.
I gotta tell you this: if you wanna piss off the relatives, if you wanna piss off the relatives that you don't like, do what I did last year when the mother-in-law was over. All right. If you go on YouTube or iTunes, you can download Twisted Sister's Christmas album. All right. Now you want to hear?
This playing?
I had this cranked, and the sea hag went and turned the volume down on the television. I cranked it back up. It was on last year. It was on, and I won. I had to play. I had to play the role of it's my house, my rules.
Oh goodness gracious.
Yes, Ron is mentioning, or a couple people are mentioning Pat Boone's Christmas. I actually have a version of Pat Boone singing Paradise City by Guns N' Roses. It's a great version. Don't be slagging Pat Boone.
Slow?
No, it's like really, it's like big band fast. It's great. It's great.
I'm impressed.
I'm
impressed.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic.
You're going to have these, like, playing. Now, I'm seriously, I'm going to end up, like, looking at this Twisted Sister, like, recap on YouTube.
Just don't hate the player, all right?
Okay,
Don't hate the player. You just gotta go with it. It feels good. It feels very good, and I highly recommend it. So that way, if you want to get back at people, just give it a go. I highly suggest it. I just sent it to you on Facebook, by the way.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I did. I'm that guy. I'm quick.
You're a multitasker.
I am quick on.
I can't.
I'm a man.
Are you on everything at the same time?
You know what? I've got Twitter in front of me. I got the Spreaker chat room in front of me. I got the Space Travelers in front of me on Facebook, and I always have a YouTube channel open for some reason, because you never know when you're going to have to YouTube. You just never know. So I got it all happening right now. The cabin here, SOR headquarters, it is highly technologically advanced. That's what I can say.
It sounds like it. It
Yeah.
sounds like you got all these screens.
No, it's true. It's true. You know, it's absolutely true. So we got to make it happen. What was the other one I told you? Oh, Pat Boone. Pat Boone. We'll get you that one too later on. But do you think?
Are they? Is he actually singing Christmas carols? Or
yeah. Oh yeah. They got.
Or just.
They got all the good ones on there.
Singing Guns N' Roses.
No.
Guns N' Roses, Paradise City. That's not a Christmas carol.
Oh no, Pat Boone is. I'll send you the Guns N' Roses version of that. Absolutely. Let's see.
I know the Guns N' Roses version, but I'm wondering if he has a Christmas. Somebody said Pat Boone's. Did somebody type that in the chat room? Pat Boone's Christmas.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see. The Twisted Sister album has Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, Oh Come All Ye Faithful, White Christmas, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Silver Bells, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, Let It Snow, Deck the Halls, The Christmas Song, Heavy Metal Christmas, and Traditional Christmas Songs. It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. You'll enjoy that. You guys will get just get the horns up and do what you have to do at a concert to make yourself feel good. It works. It works. It works.
It's one of those that you put on and you have to dance. You have to groove around.
Yeah, I would be the guy in the neighborhood, that idiot guy in the neighborhood who has, all the music tied to their Christmas lights and have speakers blaring at the front of my house. With Twisted Sister Christmas on there, or Trans-Siberian Orchestra, because you never go wrong with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Those guys rock. Those guys know how to do it. They pretty damn good.
They seriously rock. That's the thing. When you hear orchestra, you don't think rock out, but they fully rock out.
Yes, I fully agree with that. But, something like Christmas carols, you go through the shopping malls, you go into every store, you go onto satellite radio or even your local radio channels, they're playing Christmas music. It could be something as simple as that, Rachel, that sets a lot of people off.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Christmas music is the one thing that moves people. I don't know. Well, maybe it's not all people, but to me, there's a sense with the music that has a sensation of I guess it depends on the music, but moving you into a sense of joy or peace, or kind of moving you out of the kind of energy of animosity or the energy of, just this anxious. I think it depends on the song, because like I said, that one Christmas song of mine that I don't even know what it's called, the Choir of the Bells or whatever it is, it always feels like a stressful Christmas. But I think that there's, whatever those triggers are, having, like I said, and like we just talked about earlier, having those techniques that are kind of your go-tos during those times. And it's like a tool belt for knowing your triggers.
So should one avoid going into public at this time, or at least have a very thick pair of earmuffs?
I love Christmas carols. It's just, I guess if that is one of your things, if you know that the Christmas songs are one of your triggers, or certain areas that yourself. And I mean, if it's just if you know that talking about politics is one of your things, it's you don't want to get into it, or you're going to, blow a gasket or something, then you can learn to kind of mitigate that with yourself, knowing, I wouldn't say that it means you have to live in a hole for the whole of the season, but there's just an aspect of learning how to manage those levels within yourself. A lot of people don't get out and go holiday shopping because they know they don't like that energy of kind of the manic craze of materialism during that time. And like you said earlier, they don't want to feel the pressure, or they don't want to feel just the push. There's so much push and pressure during that time financially. So a lot of people just don't get out at the malls during that season, because there's a sense of them kind of knowing their own boundaries. So yeah, I think there's healthy boundaries there. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy like living in earmuffs or living in a cave, but at the same time, like healthy boundaries, I just think in general, especially during the time that has such a sense of like peer pressure, you know what I mean? It has a sense of pressure and kind of like keeping up with the Joneses, like you said earlier, of like, you know, that energy of the Facebook perfect life of having everything perfect or having everything set ahead of time. A lot of us just feel like having those healthy boundaries is kind of our even balance during this time.
I'm getting hell on Twitter from Les, who says, why even discuss a band like Twisted Sister? That's why you keep getting abducted. I know. I hear you. Trust me, I'm not a big fan of Twisted Sister, but their Christmas album is fantastic. And in their videos, they even bring back the dad that keeps getting beat up in the old videos. It's fantastic. You got to check it out.
There's a dad that gets beat up in the old videos?
Yeah, you have to.
Now I'm really going to have to watch it.
You have to. You have to watch it. You know,
So there's an actual YouTube video with it?
Yes. Just type in Twisted Sister Christmas on YouTube. It'll pop right up.
Well, that's the one, you posted it on my Facebook, right? Because I'm going to go on there later and look.
Yes. The Australians who listen to this show, they're sick of hearing Christmas music that refers to snow because it's summertime and blazing hot down there during
That's such a good
Christmas.
point. They only have that one. The only one I know that's not snow focus is that Mele Kalikimaka Hawaiian Christmas song. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Don Ho.
Kalikimaka is yes.
Don Ho could play the hell out of a
Christmas
ukulele. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the only one I know that doesn't. But that's so true. I never thought about that. That is a little off. We need to come up with some more balanced sunshine day kind of Christmas carols.
There's 35 million people down there, 40 million people. You think they'd have a couple of musicians. Get AC/DC or Midnight Oil or Olivia Newton-John to write some Christmas music for you Aussies. I think it's fair. I think that's a fair comment.
It's got to be out there. That's worthy of YouTubing. There's got to be something out there that they've come up with that's not just re-singing or rehashing old Christmas carols. That's actually like catered towards their community of people.
Well, they're by the ocean. You know, why not have a great white Christmas? Because there's so many bloody sharks around there. I'm just saying. It's possible. It is absolutely possible. You know?
Great white Christmas. That's too funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. I'm like literally imagining now like these dancing sharks, like, you know, with the full-on Santa hat and just making them like ridiculously silly in this video. That's exactly where my imagination goes.
I don't blame you at all. Hey, one of the things that we want to finish the year on, because the beautiful part about getting past December 21st, which is winter solstice, and then the doldrums of the holidays, we have the uplifting idea that there is a new year ahead, just a few days afterwards. So I'm curious, how do we build up our energy to close out the old year that was, put it behind us, and move on to the brand new year?
Well, I'm a big fan of like ceremonies and doing things that have a sense of, because like with the solstice, or having a sense of following the energy of the putting the old to rest and starting something new. I think that's a beautiful energy. I think everybody deserves to have that sense of newness and rebirth and recreation. And I love utilizing times in the year that kind of naturally ebb us towards that and doing some sort of ceremony. Ceremonies are just really impactful because there's such an intentional focus with them. It's not that there's something magical in the ceremony itself. It's just that the intention and setting a very clear time and space to, whether it be setting up new goals or, like I said, releasing things that no longer serve you. There's just the traditional ceremony at the end of the year of kind of going through and looking at things that no longer feel like they're relevant in your life, or they're holding you back, or there's a sense that it's time to let go, and intuitively just tuning into that, writing those down, burning them on a piece of paper, or having a sense of offering them up or planting something in the ground, something like that, in terms of a kind of a ceremony for yourself where you're saying, this is something I'm letting go of. And then doing the similar with the starting of the new year, writing things down that you want to birth anew. And then, like I said, planting something or giving yourself a very physical token or kind of physical remembrance of starting something new. Sometimes it can be like putting a rock or a special jewel or a special stone into the ground or into, putting it in your threshold where you walk over it every day. Just any sort of like focused energy in terms of ceremony that gives you a sense of starting something new and birthing something new and giving an appropriate sacredness to it. I'm huge on that. I think that can be very powerful for a lot of people to utilize this time to serve you in a way that you feel like kind of keeps you on track spiritually and keeps you on track remembering what the heck you came to this planet for. What do you want to do?
How do people turn off a new year to turn up the energy for a new year?
How do they turn it off? Say that again?
How do they turn off the energy that was built up over the old year and turn on the energy for the new year?
Got it. So, one of the ways is, like I said, I would suggest if you're wanting that, if you're wanting to put things to rest or turn off the energy that is no longer serving you, I would suggest writing those things down on a piece of paper. And there's just a real simple alchemy to paper. Paper is made from trees. It's very grounding. It's an absorbent energy. It absorbs water. It absorbs ink. There's an absorbing energy to it. And being very intentional with what you're writing of things that you want to let go of, that you want to turn off the energetic pull in your life. And I'll always tell people I recommend using just like a regular pencil, like a lead-based pencil. Again, there's an energy there of pulling, like magnetizing. It's a magnet. There's a pulling energy there that using kind of your mental thoughts. As we know, thoughts are energy, everything's energy, and carrying that through the pencil into the paper and having almost that intentional focus of I'm moving these things that I no longer want to be in my physical body, that I no longer want to be in my energetic body, my auric body, my etheric body, my mental mind, anything. I'm moving them onto this paper. And as you're doing, you're writing it out. And then afterwards, like I said, having some sort of offering time where you burn it, where you release it, where you watch it shrivel up very tangibly, and you watch it turn into ash. It turn into smoke, and then you can blow that smoke away. You can watch it kind of and physically feel like you're pushing it away from the sense of self. Again, kind of moving those things that are a mental or an energetic feel, but moving them into very 3D tangible items, like writing them down and burning them and this type of thing. It aligns our mental and physical aspects of our life. It moves us into a sense of very clear and pointed focus of creation, of this is what I want to create. I want to create a time where this has been finished, and I'm now moving into a new.
I can totally understand that, but a lot of people with those credit card bills that have come up at the end of January are holding their breath for another month because maybe they spent their rent money on Christmas presents, or maybe, they didn't get that promotion going into the new year. So how do we start upbeat even though the things that we hope or expect to happen aren't, or we're not, or how do we get over that self-sabotage of things we did from the previous year? Because self-sabotage is a big one for a lot of people.
Well, part of why that's so damaging for people is that they carry the weight or the guilt or the added energy to it. There's one thing of like a bill, right? It comes in the mail, it's a piece of paper, and it asks you that amount of money. And then there's the whole energy of that, of what we associate and what we put on top of that. And that's different for every person. Some people can look at bills and just like toss them in the corner and be like, I'll deal with that, and not even give too energetic sense to it. And then other people can stress about the bill before it even comes. They've seen it in their mind. They're dreaming about the bill. They've now been like grinding their teeth about the bill. The bill comes, and then they're in this sense of energetic guilt, and they're paranoid, or they become paralyzed with fear. And those are two extremes, but there's the added sense of like, what do you do with the action? Once the action has already been taken, like now it moves into like, how do you want to process it? How are you going to live this out in your day-to-day? And that is fully in your control. That's not the bill itself. That's the reaction. That's the energy which you store, what you put on top of it. Does that make sense?
It does. It does, but it still doesn't answer the fact that it seems like for a lot of people, they're starting the new year with a lot of old unclosed battles from the year before. Whether it's financial, whether it's tension with friends and family, where does forgiveness, not only for yourself, but for the people around you, come into play? Because forgiveness is a very, very powerful thing.
Yes, it is. It is. And it comes into play as it's needed. It comes into play as it's needed. Like when forgiveness is needed, there's a sense of you feeling like you are ready to release the energy of that event or that person or that situation that it's being carried. Like I said, it's no longer just the event. Forgiveness is a sense of like releasing the energy that's been pent up or held, or resentment, those type of things. Because just like I said earlier, it's no longer serving you. There's a sense that you're ready to get rid of the energy of holding you back, of the heaviness of that event, or of how you've been holding it or processing it. And forgiveness is huge. I know you know this. I know everyone probably knows this, but it is a healer for you. It is a gift to yourself. It's something that you do for you. It doesn't really have anything to do with the other person other than their kind of role in the play, But for the bulk of the healing power of forgiveness, it's for you. It's for the individual themselves deciding that they're no longer going to let that power of the event or the other person or the situation dominate their own experience. They're going to set the power. They're going to say, this is no longer going to hold that energetic power over me. I'm going to forgive so that I can heal, so that I can release, so that I can feel my sense of wholeness. And it's huge. That's a biggie. And what, there's no better time in the end of the year than to look at things that no longer serve you, any resentment, any anger, any animosity that you feel like is holding you back. Again, it's as if that person is almost like hollow. They don't have, it's not that it's not about them, but it's really not. It's about you having a sense of peace.
We're down to our last couple minutes here, and I want to get a quick question in with John. John is saying, Rachel, could you please share your most recent premonition heading into the final few weeks of this year?
My most recent premonition? Well, like for next year? Or, okay, I mean, just in my line of work, like with sitting with clients all day in terms of psychic stuff, a lot of the premonitions that I look into are things that I tune into for them. You know, if they're looking at making different choices in their lives. I don't often look in general for, like, what is the world going to be like, in 2018, or have this sense of, to be honest, it's like I don't live my life like that in each moment. But let me just tune in. Let me just tune in this time. Well, I can say that for Dave, and I just, when I tuned in for you, Dave, with your family get-together, there's a sense of you being incredibly at peace and at rest after that's all over. I mean, like, the image that I'm given was you going like, oh, man.
Be prepared for me to show you a fist shaking if it doesn't happen.
No, but you're so glad, and like, there's just a huge exhale after that event of just feeling like, okay, that's done, and there is a sense of just being glad it's all said and done.
Awesome. Quickly give us your website here, my dear, so people can find you over until the next time you're on.
Yeah, awesome. My website is themodernshaman.net.
There we go. Rachel Kirkland, all the best to you, Peter, your children, over the Christmas and holidays. It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for being part of the Spaced Out Radio family. You hold on. Elizabeth Anglin from Sunday's Cosmic Passport will be our guest for hour number 3 as we continue along the spiritual and Zen trail of Spaced Out Radio heading into Christmas. We'll be back with more SOR right after this. Stick around. It's going to be fun. Liz is coming on. Here we go. We're going to commercial now.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
There's stories, then there's the truth. Do any of us really trust the news anymore? This is Jamie Sexton, owner of Rebel Planet News. The third Thursday of every month, I appear on SpacedOutRadio.com to bring you the truth you deserve, without mainstream media lies or alternative media fear-mongering. We'll get to the heart of the story and deliver the truth you are seeking. So come join us here for the Rebel Planet at SpacedOutRadio.com.
We're lighting the void on Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, this is Joe Roop, and I'm hanging out in SOR headquarters every Saturday night, bringing you the latest news when it comes to the weird and strange. Bigfoot, occult, UFOs, ghosts, and everything in between, I got you covered. You can tune in to SpacedOutRadio.com starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. Come travel into the void with us on Spaced Out Saturdays.
Not ready for bed on Saturday night? Right after Spaced Out Saturdays, hop on over to S4 with Corey Ruiz and me, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. With S4, there are no limits to what we try and uncover. From government conspiracies to helping clean up the paranormal, no topic is safe on S4. We get to the heart of the matter, of the subjects you want to learn more about. So tune in on S4 starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, only on SpacedOutRadio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hi there. I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with the U4 On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories, from alien encounters to the latest conspiracies. You won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter Online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know the truth? Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are the governments hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO seekers, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along with us as we journey across the United States, visiting UFO hotspots and alien hotspots, trying to document the UFO phenomenon. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
There's a lot of strange going on in this world, and we can help you find out what's going on with you. Paranormal, cryptids, UFOs in the sky, aliens in your bedroom tickling your toes. We have the investigators you need to find out the answers you deserve. All you have to do is head to spacedoutradio.com. Your information is 100% confidential. The SOR Sightlines report. It's free, and we're here to help.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories.
It's Cosmic Sundays with me, Elizabeth Anglin, in Cosmic Passport. Let me take you down a 3-hour spiritual journey where we will get into everything from ET contact to Psychic Sundays. It's a journey of listening and learning together with some of the best professionals in their fields. You can tune in to Cosmic Passport at spacedoutradio.com every Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, back to the program.
A child grew up too fast, went running wild. Now we don't know who to pray to anymore.
Good evening and welcome back to hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the program, we have, let me check here, Michael Schratt. If you're interested in the hidden secrets of military flight in the United States, this is what's going on. So, what I would suggest is you tune on in if you want to learn more about black triangles, what's flying at Area 51, what is alien, what is human craft. It's going to be a great show starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time, at spacedoutradio.com. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and over 160 countries around the world. Great to have you with us as well. We are also live on thefringe.fm, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Solaripedian. I got tongue-tied there. Solaripedian is your password. Solaripedian. Or Solaripedian. Maybe that's it. Whatever it is, that's your password for tonight on the mighty SOR, so make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets the password each and every single night on this show. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so on Twitter, at Spaced Out Radio. Use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio if you want to connect live with me during the show as well. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, you can follow me at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download and subscribe to our shows on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. You can rock out to some Bumblefoot, shop at our Spaced Out Radio store, watch great videos from UFO seekers and Contact TV as well. You can also read up on the Encounter Online, where we got news going on every single day on the Encounter. Elizabeth Anglin from Spaced Out Sunday's Cosmic Passport is here. I'm a little upset, Liz, because I screwed up on a very easy password that I nailed right at the beginning. I know. It's like show's over. Cardwell's going to make sure that I don't get a big mention for this in the Space Out Radio chat room now. It's terrible.
How many times have you messed up on a password?
A lot.
I mean,
a lot.
A plethora of times that you've messed up.
Yes.
A minuscule amount. They're hard. Cardwell is nerdy. I think he
Cardwell
is badge.
Cardwell is vicious with the passwords. He is vicious with the passwords. You know, he doesn't even take it easy on me. So.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
I'm a little hurt over this, but you know what? I'll survive. It's okay. It's
okay.
Very much okay.
I'm stroking his ego over here from afar. Stroke Dave's pet Dave. It's okay, Dave.
Yes.
It's going to be all right.
I know. I'll survive. I will survive. Thank you so much for joining us in hour number 3, as you normally do, for hour number 3 of the Spiritual You, where you and I actually get to go on the air. It doesn't happen often, just once a month, but are you all ready for Christmas?
Yeah. Well, it does look like the Christmas tree light fairy has thrown up on the front of my house. And in fact, it looks like it's thrown up on my house more than it actually has. I went to the general store and I was coming back, and as I was coming up to my house from down the street, I realized that it looked like I had a wall of multicolored lights, and it's actually just the lights on the post on the porch. But it was impressive, and I was kind of like, hey, that's not so bad. But I didn't get a Christmas tree for in the shop this year. I had a big one last year. It was a real pain. And I have 2 little Christmas trees for outside, and I think that's all I'm going to do. And I know, and I have friends coming, so, and my brother is here, so he's not here, but he moved to southern Colorado, so we'll see each other. So it's actually going to be that I don't spend with Netflix, which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. You know what? We decided this year not to get a Christmas tree, not because we don't want to, but because we're heading south, to my family's, as everybody knows, after listening to the first 2 hours of the show. So we didn't see the purpose of getting a tree this year. And we're still the type of people who go out to a Christmas tree farm, cut down our own tree. I love that feeling. Don't go to the store to buy one. Don't have a fake one. I got a real tree every year. And I'm a little saddened by that because it's always been such a fun family tradition going out and picking out the family Christmas tree, but there just doesn't seem to be a point if we're not going to be home. And let's face it, real trees dry out, and if we're not going to be here, it's better to, not do it because, there could be danger. You know what I'm saying? And the last thing I want to do is come home to a burnt down house. So
yep, that is true.
So we're not doing the Christmas tree this year. I'm a little upset with that. But, hey, let's get to a question from Teresa right off the bat for you here, Liz. She says, Liz, do you think the solstice plays into this at Christmas time? People releasing and experiencing darkness before returning to light?
Well, that was my question for...
Yes, and you just got it.
Oh, so she's repeating it back. Well, I threw it at her. I do think that has a lot to do with it. There is a tremendous shamanic thing with releasing darkness or going into the darkness before you return to the light. And, when you heal a lot or when you do energetic or emotional healing a lot, there are easier ways, there are more difficult ways, but healing usually involves some recapitulation of something that is dark. It comes to consciousness to be released. And you can go to therapy for 12, 20 years, whatever it is, and spend all that time talking about your mother and how you weren't loved and re-traumatize yourself every time you're in the therapist. Or you can imagine, like what Rachel was saying about burning things up that you're done with, you can imagine that once something has come to your consciousness, that you are sending it out of your all of your energy fields, like your physical body, all of the other spiritual components of the self, that this energy is being sent out. And because you're done with it. You've already re-experienced it. You've already gone, wow, that really hurt. Yeah, I've been hanging on to that. I didn't forgive that. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I can forgive myself and forgive that now. So I'm it's at my consciousness, and I can do that. So, but there is that going into darkness, and this is a month that we go into darkness, and then we see our families at the same time. It's so fun. So, I like ironic humor, like black humor. So Christmas and December to me are sort of that in a nutshell. Like go see your family and go into the darkness and become conscious of all the ways that your older brother, who I'm going to see and I love dearly, hurt you when you were a kid, or your mom or your dad or your stepmom, or, it's just great.
What are some of the traditions at the Anglin household?
The traditions are the black sheep, i.e. me, stays away. That is a long-standing tradition and goes elsewhere because I've been adopted by multiple other families. I have a huge family. The Anglins, my stepmom runs orphanages in Africa and medical clinics. And my parents, after I left home, adopted, I think, 10 kids. Yeah, 10 kids. And so the Anglins in northern Wisconsin have a huge get-together, and tears are shed and people are offended, and so I just did the whole dang thing, because it takes until March for people who get hurt to get over it, by and large, because Anglins don't tend, even though, like, a lot of Anglins they tend to hang on to things. I have learned not to, but I also have learned to avoid the things. It's like, you know, if you could have told the dinosaurs don't step into the tar pit, that's how I am with my family. It's like, oh, look, Christmas. Oh, don't step into that tar pit. So I avoid it. But I do get to hear the after stories, which is always fun. And it really comes about, you know, I do like my older brother. I like first 5 siblings that I have, and I like to see them. But you know, by and large, it's a wow. You know, it's a festival of horror. So, you know, so Eric and I are going to do the Nightmare Before Christmas on Cosmic Passport, because that really speaks to the festival of horror. And I'm just being very open about this because I don't know what else to say. When I was a kid, we had great Christmases with all the neighbors and the ice skating and that sort of thing. But now it's, I think I'm done talking about that.
A lot of people feel, Liz, that there are negative entities hard at work during the holidays to cause such negative karma on people. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with that. I have a stepmother who is, you know, some people think that she's a saint, but if you really knew her, you would just see this person beset by negative entities. She manages to get a lot done. I know that God is working with her to save a lot of children and heal a lot of people in the places that she does that, and I know that God even uses people's ego and things, but I'll tell you what, she has said some things at Christmas which are just, it's obvious that she doesn't want any of her stepchildren to be alive because we're competition for her children or herself. And it probably is her negative entities provoking her to say these things. I mean, just really massively hurtful stepmother, I really wish you were dead things. So
this is where Twisted Sister Christmas comes into play. I'm just saying this. You all laugh at me, but this is the truth.
Well, and it's funny because when I left home, and my dad had already remarried just before I left home, and I went to Boston. I had a boss who told me I was really upset around Christmas because of how I was treated by my stepmom. And I went back to work, and my boss at work said, "Oh, no, don't you worry about that. You make your own family. You know, you're an adult now. You pick your family. When you were a child, you got the family that you landed in, but now you pick your own family." And I've kind of lived by that most of my life without, you know, there's a freeing thing when you don't allow yourself to be too victimized by somebody in your family, and you just say, okay, well, I'll pick my own family. That's basically what I've done. And so I don't know. And the year I became a Reiki master, I really stopped wanting presents. I became a Reiki master on All Souls Day in 1994, and it was an apprenticeship thing that took a few months. And that Christmas, I just looked at the consumerism and I went, I don't need to buy a single thing. And I really haven't, for the most part, spent much money on Christmas or allowed myself to be roped into it, and that's very freeing as well. Now, if I had children, oh my gosh, I spoil my dog, I would spoil my kids. It would be utter craziness, but you know, I don't tend to go utterly crazy with the rest of my family or friends. It's just a meal, a dinner, spend time to get, you know, have phone conversations if people aren't here, do something fun. That's the kind of thing that I like to do and have for a long time.
No, I can understand that. I can see where it would be fun and entertaining and joyous, as many will say, you know, but with all due respect to everyone's family, and like I'll ask you the same thing I asked Rachel, there's a lot of people who just have to cause trouble over the holidays or any time they're around family, whether it's a snide remark, whether it's bragging. How do you build up your own shield to protect yourself from that type of energy?
Well, like I said, I don't go to the tar pit. I mean, that is the carpet that is my family. Somebody starts it, and then somebody else takes the ball and runs with it, and then somebody else takes the ball and runs with it. If I go to the actual nexus of the Anglin family, it just goes around, but it's usually all starts with my stepmother, and then everything rolls downhill from there. So I just avoid it. I just don't do it. It's not something that I can. And the problem with me, I mean, you guys know me on the show. I say whatever's on my mind. You know, it's just like,
no,
what?
not you. Not you.
What?
Not you.
Me.
My goodness.
I mean, people think I don't like them because I'll speak my mind about something I think they're saying is BS, and I like them just fine. It's just I will never stab you in the back. I will stab you in the face. That is my promise to everybody. If I am upset with you for some reason or don't like something you're saying, you aren't going to miss it. So just imagine if I went home. Oh my gosh. Because I called my stepmother on her crap the last time I was home, and it was my dad and I buying his mother and my grandmother flowers for Christmas, and we both put in $25 to buy roses. And she was upset with him for buying his mother a $25 gift. And we were on our way to church on Christmas Eve, and we're in northern Wisconsin. The road is covered with snow. She's going 85 miles an hour, and she just goes off on me about allowing my dad to spend $25 in roses on his mother when I spent $25, and what were we going to do? Cover her whole room with red roses? And I was thinking, yeah, I hope it's that many, because Grandma's really cool, and she is just going after me, and I turned to her and I very quietly said, would you prefer it if I just opened the door and threw myself out of the van right now and died in a snowbank? And she shut up. And everybody in the van shut up. Because it was obvious she was attacking me. She was spiritually attacking me, she was verbally attacking me, and on, yada, yada, yada. So, you don't want to do that to me because you will be called on it. You'll be called on your stuff. And so I don't go there, because I'll start calling her on her stuff, and then she'll find other stuff, and then I'll call her on that. And
but for other people, Liz, don't have the opportunity to get away. And I think that's a difficulty that we have. So what would be your advice spiritually for people who can't get away from those situations?
Yeah, as I tell anybody who's going to go into a conflict situation, the best thing that I've ever been told is to say clearing prayers. Find some clearing prayers that you can say. If it gets too hot or too intense, go to a quiet place and meditate and ask for angelic assistance. Ask for the beings of goodness and light to assist you. But also, try to remember that words are not words, looks, actions, being slighted, somebody getting a better present than you, or any of the other things that can happen at Christmas. Nothing is that solid, significant, and real on earth. When you have had a near-death experience, as I have, and it's hard to remember because it was so long ago, but when you've had a near-death experience and you get to the other side, you will realize that this is an illusory training ground, that you are learning about emotions, you are learning about love, and it is actually, physicality is much more of an illusion than the other side is. And when you get there, you'll realize that. So anything that happens to you here with your family, remind yourself, ask yourself, is it solid? Is it significant? Is it real? And especially when it comes to words, especially when it comes to slights, especially when it comes to people ganging up on you, or whatever the dynamic is it solid? Is it significant? Is it real? And the answer is no, it really isn't solid, significant, and real, and you don't need to make it solid, significant, and real. You can just turn it from particle to wave. Imagine the words are coming out into the world, you're hearing them, they're trying to become solid, and you just turn them into a wave and say, oh, that's not solid, significant, and real. That's just somebody's crap at the moment that they won't remember next Tuesday. So I don't really even have to remember it for more than 5 minutes. You can be responsible for yourself in that way. Now, I think that's my best advice, and also getting time away. Go find a spot, and like Rachel was saying, let things go. Sit down, meditate, let it go. Let it go. And watch the Frozen, and then sing the song, Let It Go, because it's a good time of year for that.
Is the negativity that a lot of people have leading up to Christmas more powerful than the positivity and the hype around a new year because they're so close together?
It really depends on your situation. I've had brilliant New Years in my lifetime where they have just been the best things ever. So I don't find a lot to complain about the New Year, but I have felt that other people have a hard time around the New Year. My birthday's in January, and it's the 11th, and so I've never had really great birthdays because everybody's sort of crabby and there's no more money left, and we've already had presents, why should we get you presents, and that sort of thing. And so I see it in other people, but I actually really like the New Year. I think some of my peak experiences in life have been on the New Year, so I don't know why, but I think for normal people, yeah, it's hard. It's dark, it's cold, it's getting colder for a lot of people who aren't living in the South or in a warm climate, and yeah, I think it is.
So when you look towards the new year, how do you keep it positive without bringing the negative energies of the old year through with you?
Well, I do like New Year's resolutions, not because I think I'll keep them, but because it is a good time for letting go of the old. You've had the solstice, you've gone into the darkness, you're coming back into the light, you're going to get more and more and more energy. So what you can look at it like is that the light is coming back, and that light of the sun here in the northern hemisphere is going to fuel your efforts as you go through the year with more and more and more energy. And you can use the time of the dark to kind of go inward, to go into a creative, dare I say it, womb space, and envision what you want your year to look like, and then write down your intentions for the year. So I liked what Rachel was saying about throwing out all the old stuff, everything that you're done with, that you don't need, that you can forgive, that you've forgiven with other people, and then you go into the sort of really creative, what would I like to have, do, be, and have this year? What would I like my experience to look like, be like? What would I like to create? What would I like to co-create? And write those down. And it's just focusing intention on, this year I would love to have this. This year I would love to have a worry-free making my rent situation. This year, on and on and on. And you may not get them, but the fact that you can focus on them from a place of quiet, because it does get very quiet. For me, at least, it gets very quiet through the new year, after Christmas through the new year until my birthday or just around my birthday. It gets quite quiet internally. And so it's a good focusing time for me. I don't know how it is for other people. And when you're doing internal work, you're not buying anything. You're not reaching for anything. You're not grasping for anything. So, perhaps if you've overspent on family or friends or your kids, if you do internal work after Christmas of co-creating, of thinking about what you want, you don't need any money to do that. You can just go do it. So,
what about vacations? Because a lot of people are now starting to say, screw the Christmas traditions. Let's go to Mexico, or let's go to the Bahamas or someplace warm for Christmas and just get away from all of the potential family disasters, that can lead up, or the depression that can lead up at this time of year. Do you recommend an escape like that for the holidays?
I tried to do that, and Rob and I tried to do that. Of course, we were up on a mountain where it snowed a lot, and so sometimes we'd get snowed in with a snowstorm. But it literally was exhausting. Like, we went on some fun cruises in February, and they weren't actually all that fun because I ended up getting sick. It was a lot of work. So I don't know. I think if you're single, and I think if you live in a place where it's easy to get from one place to another, that they may be fun for you and they may be fun for your family. A lot of people come here in February and March. We see a lot of tourists, and they're having a fine time, but they tend to seem to have a better time if they come with friends and they have this idea that they're on retreat together. So I don't know. It's never really worked for me. I do better just kind of keep it on than going somewhere.
But for other people, do you see it as an escape, Liz?
I think there are expectations. I think the whole travel for a week, take a cruise, go somewhere to the south, lay on a beach, I think that not everybody really needs that, but I think that people get the expectations of that. And that once they, perhaps their parents did it, or once, or perhaps they did it in their family. To me, it's just a part of consumerism, that when you get those expectations, then you expect to do that. And so you go do that. I don't actually know, I work with a lot of people, and there are times when Spirit will come through and say, you really need to go lay on a beach. But that's like 5% of the people I ever work with. Most people don't really need to go lay on a beach for a week. Most people don't need that. What they need to do is stop running away and stop escaping and start actually dealing with their situation that they have in hand. And I think our consumeristic society says, hey, this problem that's bugging you that you're not actually working on because that would involve being direct and to the point and possibly causing a conflict, guess what? You don't have to deal with it. You can come to St. Croix. You can go to Jamaica. You can go someplace else. You can go on a cruise. And so I really see, especially working with people who do have money to tour, I do see that there is a sort of psychological issue where too much money leads to addictive consumerism, which means that, okay, well, I can travel anywhere, so because I don't want to deal with this problem, I'm just going to go take a trip. But, very few people get told you need, there are people who are so tired they need to go on vacation. They need to get time away from where they are. But most people, that's not the case. Most people are shopping and buying and traveling because it's a distraction from what they really have going on that they need to be working on, in my opinion.
Nick, otherwise known as the Champ, in the Spreaker chat room, has a question. He said his friend Shauna, who was a paranormal investigator, passed on. She never listened to SOR, but recently in his dream, she was listening to the show with him, and she was trying to tell him something, but he doesn't know what she was trying to say. Can you maybe shed some light on that, Liz?
Well, Nick, you are trying very, very, very hard to hear her. You're also pulling on her quite a bit. And I'm just going to tell it like I see it, and I don't want you to take this as a judgment, but you're pulling on her quite a bit. And so what would be good for you to do is just lighten up about it, know that she's there, know that you don't need to grasp for her to have her be there. I would say it this way, just allow her to be. Allow her to be wherever she is, whenever she is there. And sometimes she has been watching the show with you, but she can watch the show with you from heaven. She can do that. She can see the show from heaven. She doesn't have to be in the room with you. Don't make your ideas of how spirit works, or your limited ideas of how spirit works, cause a separation between the two of you. Or don't make the fact that, you haven't gotten there yet in terms of your intuition be a problem. It's just, developing intuition to the extent that you could really feel her in the room there with you takes time. It takes years, and for most people, and sometimes decades for most other people. So don't make it an issue. Just know that she's there with you. You don't need to pull on her. You don't need to grasp at her. You can just think at her wherever she is and say, okay, I'm going to watch SOR, and I'm going to listen to SOR now. Do you want to come with me? And just sit with that for a little bit and allow her to be, because even if she's on the other side, she can open up a little window and listen to the show with you. She doesn't have to actually come into your room in the astral plane. So don't worry about the separation. And she doesn't have anything really, she wants you to know that she's there, but you can stop putting energy into grasping for her. Just allow her to be. And allow yourself to be. And allow yourself to be with your grief for a little bit, because she was really important to you. And grief is the thing that makes us grasp for people that we've lost, and just loneliness and grief both. But just you allow yourself to be where you are with that. Allow her to be. Everything is okay. And there really isn't a problem, and there's really no separation. It's just you're not at a state where you can see her or feel her or touch her, and that's difficult, or hear her on the phone. But just allow her to be, and things will occur to you as time goes on. So it'll be okay.
Andrew on Twitter says, Liz, you're a trained singer. Do you go out caroling?
Oh, if I can find a good group. I've gone to some Christmas parties where all we do is sing, and then I get home on Christmas Day and I can't talk. And I caroled a lot when I was younger. It depends on who's around and what they're doing and whether or not we can get a group together. But a Christmas party that's a bunch of people singing, that's awesome. I like that. I mean, spending Christmas Eve here, there's usually a big party in Madrid at somebody's house, and it's multiple guitar players and singers and spooners and various kinds of... It's like Whoville. It's a lot of fun.
I've never done the caroling thing, just never really have been into it. I don't see the purpose. I really don't. And I hate figgy pudding, so I'm not doing the whole figgy pudding crap. I don't know.
I used to be in madrigal singers. I was in madrigal singers in my late teens, and we used to put on a show where we were all dressed up in medieval garb and singing and holding court. It was fun. It was just fun. So have some old-style fun, I think of caroling as like Bart Simpson. You go up to somebody's door and then you harass the crap out of them. So, if you have an evil bent like that, it's a lot of fun. Hey, I'm going to sing at you. Do you really have to? Yeah. Let's do it.
I can see that.
You still there?
I can see where you would say it's fun. I could totally say that. But I just don't enjoy it. I'm one of those guys, not that I'm a Scrooge or anything, but I'm literally one of those dudes who would really like to, how could we put it? Just close my door. Just close my door. Like, I don't know what to do. Stand there and do what? Oh, you're drunk and acting like idiots on my stairwell leading up to my front door. I don't know. Maybe I should put a big no caroling sign out there. But the beautiful part about it is I don't even get kids for trick-or-treating, so I don't need to worry about carolers, I don't think.
Yeah, if nobody comes, I mean, I might get carolers here, and I won't automatically go to my door if they knock, but the dog will bark a lot, so I'll probably go. But nobody's actually come up to my house, even though I have my lights on.
Mm-hmm.
I think because I'm the scary medium person or something. I don't know.
Scary medium lady, that's who you are. Scary medium lady.
Hey, if you want to find out, get a bead on the general spiritual development of your fellow man, put a sign out in front of your house that says spirit medium and see how many people run away, how many people make fun of it, and how many people say, oh, I want to go in there. And literally, it's fewer who say, ooh, I want to go in there than it is who make fun of it and or run away. But I should actually take video of this and actually count who is doing what, because it's an interesting thing. And Wyatt says hi. He sends you all his Christmas love.
He always says hi.
He says, hi, give me Mongolian chicken now.
Mm-hmm. I know. I know. I get that. I can understand that, and I can appreciate that. Just a damn caroling thing. I haven't even put my Christmas lights on this year.
You should. Christmas lights make you feel better. They make me feel better. If I didn't put them on, I think I'd feel a little, I don't know, dark. Like it's dark. You should do it.
Not feeling that rebellious this year. Not doing Christmas at home, it just doesn't feel Christmassy. It really doesn't. It doesn't feel Christmassy at all.
Well, get some tinsel out and put it around and make a coat hanger tree and dress it up in stuff. And, you got to make your own fun, Dave. Do you guys ice skate?
Obviously, you missed the hour where we were talking about going out on the lakes to play hockey. Last year, we did it on December 26th.
Oh, you should be doing that like all month long. Okay, I missed it. I was on a phone with Joe and Eric Markham, and Joe Roop and Eric Markham, and so I missed it because I came in late. But I will tell you this: that ice skating is the best thing to do to get into the Christmas spirit. It is the best. And if you're not ice skating, then shame on you. You should be out ice skating as often as you possibly can, especially since you're Canadian. Come on.
Well, you kind of need the ice to be frozen at that point.
Is it not frozen up there yet?
It's just starting to get frozen.
Okay.
It's just starting.
It should get frozen before Christmas, right?
You would think. It all depends. So we've been having these strange days where it'll be like -5, -6 degrees Celsius, and then it'll heat up to like 3-4 degrees. So the ice never gets a real chance to settle on in.
No, that stinks. What you need is 3 or 4 or 5 days of really cold, and then it'll be great. It'll be just awesome, and with no snow on the top. So I'm wishing you clear and cold, high pressure, and snow-free ice. I wish you that. It's my Christmas wish for you, because you need it.
Well, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. So I'm wondering if you feel that the Christmas holiday tradition is just an overburden to a lot of people in regards to, their own mental therapy, because people don't have a time to shut down. And even around the Christmas holidays, they still have to be on, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is an energetic burden for a lot of people. And it does depend on the group of people that you're in. Like, if you are in a good group of people, a good community, say at work, at home, in your family, then it can be a very good time, a very good situation. But if you are like most people and things are stressed, or there's unforgiveness, or there's unsaid things, or there's resentment. Resentment is a killer. Resentment is a killer for people on the Christmas holiday, but it's a killer in relationships. And resentment will get you negative entities attached to you quicker than anything else. So, like, if you resent somebody and you have to go into a situation with them, you want to identify what that resentment is. And again, like Rachel said, if you can bring yourself to forgive yourself and forgive them and let that resentment go, you're going to be way better off in the new year having gone through Christmas than you would be if you never did, if you just held on to the resentment. But the main thing energetically that really messes people up is resentment. And that does come up at Christmas in situations where people haven't let it go. So, look for it when you find it, when you find you're feeling resentful of somebody that you're in a party with, at a party and traveling with, etc. It's time to let it go, especially if you have to continue to deal with them in your life. And even if you don't, it's no good for your health or anything else. Even if you aren't going to see them again, it's best to let it go.
Well, you know what? It's going to be an interesting time indeed. We do have a question from Andrew on Twitter. He says, Liz, what was the peak moment so far in your life? Was it a musical performance, an athletic endeavor, or particular session you had with a client? And how do you advise your clients to reach for their peak moments in their lives?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. A peak moment. I've had a lot of peak moments, and I've been lucky in that way. I talked about New Year's being good. I had a New Year's when I was very, very in love with somebody and was getting married. We didn't end up getting married, but I'll tell you what, that was a very lovely peak moment in my life, because I really did love that person and they really loved me at that time. So love, like pure, unadulterated, just love, being in love, was a peak moment. Being dead was a peak moment. 24, having a near-death experience, going up and standing in front, walking into heaven, because you do walk, at least I did. I kind of flew for a bit, and I flew through the tunnel, and then I got there and I was walking, and having it be like the Alpha and the Omega at the end of the Bible, with the stream cutting through the barrel, and walking across the bridge and walking over to the city and standing beside Jesus, and then having my life review and not having done anything too terrible to anybody. That was all awesome until, my Lord and Savior said, oh, guess what? You got to go back. You're not done yet. But that was really, really awesome. I mean, that's the best, because I remembered it, and it was one solid conscious thing, and it was just the love. Again, it's the love. It's any time that I've really been in love. Playing Beethoven's Pastoral Suite after not having any sleep whatsoever the night before, and having to do a concert with a full audience, and I was able to get through Beethoven's Pastoral without a single freaking mistake, because I just decided to love the music. Peak moment. So those are three, but really good sessions are really peak, because I hang out with spirits a lot, and they're usually pretty happy because they're in heaven, and it's pretty blissful. So
I like that question. That's actually a good one. I got to tell you, though, I am someone who is very, very unsure about the future. There's a lot of people who are living it day by day right now in regards to, trying to figure out which direction they are going. How much stress does that cause around the holidays, do you think?
Repeat that question again.
Just
I heard half of it.
in regards to the stress people have going on throughout this year, there's a lot of people right now, Liz, including myself, who are living day by day trying to figure out whether or not, that you can, find the energy to make it happen. There's too much going on in the present to worry about the future, even though you have to worry about the future. Whether it's bill payment, whether it's job stability, whether it's future goals that you're building. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know that. I think for you, this is a relatively new state of being. For me, it's like, well, that's been going on for how many decades? I think it gets down to you got to be thankful in advance for what's coming to you and ask for what you really need. And then don't worry. And we have a 5 precepts of Reiki, which I apply when I find myself worrying too much. Just for today, do not worry. Just for today, do not anger. Give thanks for your parents, your teachers, your family members, your friends, all living beings, and earn your living honestly. And that's actually 5. I forgot what. That ends up being 5 in some way. But the main thing is you start with just for today. Like if you have to, if you're really worried, wake up in the morning and just say, okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Because worry leads to anger, leads to dishonoring. Oh, honor your parents, your teachers, your neighbors, your friend. Give thanks for every living thing. You learn when you get angry, you dishonor yourself, you dishonor somebody else. So, take a vow in the morning, just for today, I'm not going to get worried, and then I'm not going to get angry. And go through your day and really ask Spirit to show you your opportunities, and really ask Spirit to give you the courage to be humble enough to ask for help when you need it. And sometimes you're not going to get help from the corners that you think you'll get it from. But if you are asking for help sincerely and you do need it, you will. I have always found that I've received help when I have asked for it. I tend not to like to ask for it because I'm very proud, but so if you're skirting that line, and you all of a sudden don't have the income, and you are going to food pantry, and you are doing the stuff that you need to do to keep yourself fed and watered and your family fed and watered, don't worry about that. Do what you need to do. Don't be overly proudful or prideful. Just do what you need to do to get through, and take care of you and yours in the best way that you can, and ask for help if you need it. But first things first, don't worry. Yeah.
Andrew has another question for you on Twitter, and he is asking, Elizabeth, yourself, Rachel tonight, and our guest last night, Joshua Okerson, pretty much said the exact same thing, emphasizing love as a key to a balanced existence. The Christmas and holiday season is at its core about love. What is your sense of what true love is, or love truly is?
Well, that's a good one. I mean, love is you love someone when you don't care what they do for you. When you actually you just know that you love them, that the air is brighter, the sky is bluer, the birds are singing more sweetly. So there's something. It's just the fact that this person exists in the world and the universe, and everything comes into this incredible intensity of experience because they exist in your world, and you actually don't care what they do. Like you don't want them to be harmful or to be mean or to abuse you or anything else. But there's a part of you that is sort of, in my experiences, when I've really loved somebody, there's a part of me that stepped back and been like, yeah, I don't care about that. Yeah, okay, he was just a jerk. I don't care. not because I want to be a doormat, because the part of me that loves is like, that's part of the illusion, the being a jerk, the being saying the rude thing, drinking too much, having a bad day, being grumbly. And when you love somebody, you can just kind of be like, okay, well, that's happening, but I don't need, it's a lot easier to make it not be solid, significant, and real. When you love somebody, the illusion becomes really clear. And a lot of the negativity that we go through is part and parcel of the illusion. And when you're really, really in love, you see that it's part and parcel of the illusion. When you go to heaven and you're in love and you look at all of the stuff that really bothered you about yourself on earth in a physical body, and then you realize that that's all illusory stuff, that you are love, that you are part of the love, it's very easy to see it when you are in the love. So when you are in the love with people around you, you see the negativity is part of the illusion, and the love is what's real. Now, I used to say about this person that I love so much that no matter what mood he was in or what stupidness he had just done, walking in the door when he was home was like Christmas morning, because it was the biggest gift I could ever conceive of, was just how much I loved this person. So, and it wasn't anything that he did, it just was that I did. I love this person. So, I think Christmas is tied into that. I think when we have that innocent experience as children of, our parents loving us and giving us gifts just because they love us, not because we were good, even though they would always say, oh, if you're bad, you'll get coal. I feel sorry for anybody who got coal. We never got coal. We got gifts because our parents loved us. And Santa Claus, too, if you still want to have your relationship with Santa Claus, he loves you too. And for Christians, God gave us his only given son because he loved us just that much, so we could have forgiveness. So yeah, love is it.
We're down to our last couple of minutes here, Ms. Lizzie.
Okay.
It's been a quick hour. Wow.
Yeah.
I want to let everybody know that if you are on Discord, if you go into the Spreaker chat room, BTO has put a link on there that I guess there's an after-hours chat going on there. I'm going to stop by and say hello in there. So if you want to continue on, head over to Discord, and I guess it's a Spaced Out Radio room. I don't know what they call it. Let me just take a look here. Somebody help me out on this. This is exclusive. It's exclusive to come on. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned something. I don't know. Did I just screw up? I don't know.
I think it's exclusive for chat people. So, yeah, we don't want every possible potential person that we... Yeah, because most of us on chat are familiar with each other. So
I just want to know that why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? I didn't know there was a chat area there,
Because I've been going around to everyone saying, shh, don't tell Dave. Shh, don't tell Dave. No, I don't know why.
Why doesn't that surprise me? Why doesn't that surprise me?
The show didn't start on time. Shh, don't tell Dave.
Oh, I know all. I know all, apparently, except this chat room.
Exactly.
I believe it's called Beyond the All. All is spelt with 3 L's, not 2. Beyond the All That Is. I never get the invite. Go to discordapp.com.
Beyond. That's why we don't tell Dave. He tells everybody.
I got a big mouth. What do I say? I got a big mouth. Blame me. Blame me. I'm always the one at fault. My friend, Elizabeth, you're on Sunday night? December 12th?
Sunday night. It's Psychic Sunday. Paisley and Paul and a very special guest of some ilk. It might be Paisley. I might interview Paisley. I'm not sure who's on for the first hour, but it's going to be Psychic Sunday for the last 2 hours. So buckle up, come on in with your questions. We'll get them answered.
Excellent, my dear. You hold on. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot rocks us in and out of every single show right here on the mighty SOR. Tomorrow night on the program, Michael Schratt is going to be with us. He is probably, in my opinion, the premier, the best researcher when it comes to secret space programs, black projects, black triangles, what's stealth, what's alien, what's not. 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. It's a show you don't want to miss. I want to say thank you to Rachel Kirkland, the Modern Shaman, for coming on the first 2 hours for her feature, The Spiritual You. Rachel, along with Elizabeth in hour number 3, will next be back on Tuesday, January 2nd. Don't forget, go to discordapp.com, Beyond the All of Us, all with 3 L's. That's where it is. That's the place to go. We're going for an after-hours chat. We're going to see how this goes. I want to say thanks to everybody on Twitter, everybody listening at home, in your cars, at work, and in the chat rooms for making this a great night. Because together, my friends, we own the night. I'll talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, do us a favor. Take us home. See ya.